The January transfer window has been and gone. We've made a whole host of moves. We've also progressed the season a lot further. We've got a semi-final coming up in this episode. But the most important thing, Tottenham Hotspur have 2 new centre-backs. That's right, lads. We've gone out and we've gone and signed 2 new centre-backs. Now, I wasn't going to do this. When we came into the start of the window, I'm being 100% honest. We weren't really going to go wild. I wasn't going to do much in the transfer window. This was probably the only deal that I had planned to do. It's not done yet in real life. Will it get done in real life? We don't know, but this is hotly rumoured. So I've gone in for him. Mickey lad, Van der Ven. I mean, he's decent. He isn't what I would have gone for because I think there was better options out there for a similar price. But at 21, he's going to continuously improve. It's the technicals that he needs to improve in. What is great about him is that work rate, and he's extremely quick and a little bit versatile with the fact that he can play at left back. We're going to play him as a centre-back on the left-hand side, but he gives us a couple more options, which I like. The next centre-back signing was just random, and it came off of the back of deciding to loan out Tanganga because he was just having some poor performances. I mean, I was starting to give him game time to help him improve, but technically he really suffers in what I'm trying to achieve, and I don't know, it just didn't work out for him. The game time I gave him just wasn't working, so I thought, let's loan him out, and I'm going to sign another centre-back. Now, I did want his defensive partner, but we've got him for Mancini. It wasn't a ridiculous fee. 21.5 and some change when he plays 50 games and he does some international stuff. I really should have got the name fixed for Roma, but I didn't. I haven't played the Football Manager much recently, and they didn't used to be called there. They're actually called Roma in last year's game, so they're not this year. We'll get a name fixed. It is what it is, but here we go. Mancini comes in, and do we need him? No. Is he an upgrade? Yeah, he's definitely an upgrade. I'm not going to play him as a ball-playing defender. I'm just going to play him as a central defender. Good header of the football. He's 6'3", so he's a little bit taller than Tanganga. Technically, he's just a much better defender, still with good work rates. I really like his mentals. I focus on the mentals a lot. His pace isn't horrendous either, so his pace is quite impressive. Jumping reach. I like him. I think Mancini is going to end up being a good signing. He's a rotation player. He's come in. He knows he's a rotation player. Romero and Satalo will continue to be my starters, with Van der Ven coming in eventually to be one of the starters. You need 4 good centre-backs. With the amount of cup competitions we're in, with the rotation we're having, it's leading to a little slip in form. As you can see here, since we were last with you, there was the whole World Cup competition, and then we've actually ended up going through quite a lot because I wanted to get all of January done before I come back. So we've got a semi-final game today against Norwich, and I'll chuck in the Burnley game as well because we want that extra game in. But you can see that there's been a decent run of games where we've managed not to lose. So we picked ourselves up from that Liverpool game, and we've managed to go on a run of games without losing. I've said I wanted to focus on cup competitions this year, but it is causing us problems. We're having a few more difficult times, like the Blackpool game, 4-2. If we've got our strongest 11 out, you're probably not going to have 4-2. That was ridiculous. But there's some great results in here. 5-0 against Coventry, 2-0 against Crystal Palace. I will add that this is kind of sat in where Evanilson has had a bit of a slump. So when we go to his form, you can see here that he scored in the Sheffield United game, which was great. But then after that, just had this ridiculous slump. West Ham, Bristol City, didn't play in the Leicester game, but West Ham again, Bristol City, Arsenal, Norwich, and then finally bagging 3 goals against Blackpool in the last game. He's not been good of recent, and that has made life more difficult. But what has helped greatly is the emergence of Richarlison. He did this in the FIFA save. He is now continuing to give back to the channel yet again by doing it in the Football Manager save. I can't explain it. I genuinely can't. But he now has he's found this unbelievable form. He's got 7 goals in 9 appearances in league, 13 in total. He's only 3 behind Evanilson himself. So who knows? Who knows? But all of a sudden, Richarlison has just become the player that we know, the player that we love in that Tottenham series, and potentially the starter. He's not the starter at the minute. We're flip-flopping between the two, but at 25, I mean, he's got a lot to offer, and he's been great on the left-hand side since Son picked up this injury. Still 10 days to 5 weeks. Son being out. I should have led with Pedro, because Pedro's the big money guy. We spent a fortune on him. It's not quite worked out for Pedro yet. We can see by some of his average ratings, but there are some flashes here. Maybe when he learns the language, maybe when things settle down for him a little bit, there are some flashes. But yeah, so Richarlison is all of a sudden some level of beast, and it couldn't have come at a better time because we do actually sit top of the league in season number 1 here. season number 1 and the rebuild, it might be done. It might be. I don't know what you guys will say, but it might be done. I don't know. I'm kidding myself. We need Champions League football. But hey, we're in a title race. Who'd have thought that that was going to happen when we decided to do this? But all in all, results have been decent. We've had some good ones in the league. Sheffield United 3-0. Great result. The West Ham one was a difficult one because West Ham actually at this current moment in time, playing them, they were 4th in the league. So that was always going to be a tough one. Managed to beat them 1-0. Playing Bristol City twice, not the plan. Extremely frustrating, but we got the job done. That's all that matters. We beat them in the end. We drew then in the next game against West Ham. Again, they're very good this season. Beating Leicester, smashed them in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. Arguably one of the biggest games, though, this game up against Arsenal, which was just pure domination. I don't know how to put that any other way. When you come into a North London derby, all you want to do is get a victory, but we absolutely tore them apart very early in the game with very few early chances. Richarlison bagging the goal. Paul has he's unmasked some form that we didn't know he had. Basuma and DePaul again. So, I mean, just pure domination against Arsenal, and what a crazy result. And that crazy result led to this man, Rodrigo DePaul, being man of the match. And he's not only done that recently, he scored one of the best free kicks that I have scored in a long time. And I haven't seen many good free kicks on FM so far this year. I haven't scored many. So the fact that Rodrigo DePaul managed to put this in the back of the net is absolutely unbelievable. And it kind of just justifies the signing of Rodrigo DePaul, because it was one that came from left field, 18.5 million, and he's having a great time so far this season. He's now managed to get himself into 7 goals and 4 assists with a few man of the match performances. So I'm really happy with the signing of Rodrigo DePaul. But speaking of signings, we decided to go out there and sign ourselves a new central midfielder. Did we need to do this? Probably not, but I did sell Oliver Skipp. He went to Roma. I really like Oliver Skipp. I really like his attributes, but the problem is he weren't getting game time. He wasn't gonna get the game time anytime soon. He wasn't happy with being a rotation player, and because of that, he tried to force a move out of the club. I thought it made sense to get a deal done. We got about 25 million for him, which I think is a reasonable fee for Oliver Skipp, and that's why Neuhaus has come in. And I think Neuhaus matches up very well, attribute-wise, compared to Oliver Skipp. In fact, he's far better technically, and he can cover all 3 of the roles that we need in the center of the park, which is advanced playmaker, Mazzala, and the DM. So the fact that he can cover all of them was a huge selling point when it came to signing Florian Neuhaus for 19 million. I think that's a really good trade-off. Now, I do also realize you might be wondering why we signed so many centre-backs, and that's because Real Madrid have signed Eric Dyer. He was unhappy at the club. He wasn't getting game time. I didn't particularly want him at the club, but I felt like we needed to keep him at least for the first half of the season. Not like offers were flying in for him in the summer, and so we kept him. He didn't really play. And then Real Madrid, of all teams, have signed him to go and sit on their bench and make some sub-appearances. I have no idea how this managed to happen, but Real Madrid have Harry Kane and Eric Dyer. Good luck to him. Have fun over there playing at Madrid. I was happy to cash in and sign Mancini. Now, today's first game is going to be the second leg in the Carabao Cup, and it's going to be against Norwich. 2-1 was the first leg result, which was, to be honest with you, a pretty disappointing result away from home against a championship Norwich. When we went 2-0 up with a Richarlison goal in the first minute and an Edwards goal in the 9th minute, I was thinking this is going to be comfortable, cushy, we're going to be through. Made some substitutions. Norwich came out a different beast in the second half. Adam scoring. It could have been more. They hit the woodwork 3 or 4 times. They were extremely good in that second half. So this is not going to be a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination. And the worst news is as well, if we do win this game, it's going to be Liverpool in the final. And I think they're the worst team for us to face up against in the Premier League. I think they play exactly the same way as we're trying to play, and they're better at it than us. Leeds, though, managed to make it to the semi-final. They knocked out Manchester United. I can't believe Leeds actually made it to the semi-final. Fair play to them. I was praying they were going to beat Liverpool. I'm pretty sure Liverpool had a player sent off in this game. Yeah, that's right. Jordan Henderson got sent off just before the half, but they were already a goal up and kind of cruising. So it's a little bit of a shame. Also, should be mentioned that Richarlison is the top goal scorer in the Carabao Cup. So he will definitely be starting for this one today. But before we do head into this one, guys, if you are enjoying the content on the channel, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button. Hit the like button so we continue to grow. Not too far off 10k now. So Richarlison's going to start. Evanilson is going to start up top. DePaul came to me frustrated that he was playing him at Zala role and he wasn't playing the advanced playmaker role. And I thought, I wish you wouldn't complain, but I'm going to promise you that I play you that role. Ever since he's played that role, the man has been... He's not moved out the squad because he's been fantastic. So it was definitely the right decision. And when Rodrigo DePaul steps into my office and speaks to me, I'm probably going to listen to him every time. Now, we do have Mancini and Neuhaus. that we can bring into the team. We also have the returning Keprin Thuram, who I really want to get back into this 11 as quickly as possible. I don't think we risk him today. I don't see the need, but I want to try and get him in there as quickly as possible, get him as fit as possible. And now because Neuhaus is fit, I'm going to give him debut today in the DM position. And we're going to see how he gets on. Apart from that, it's going to be a pretty regular starting 11 for us. Because Edwards has started having some decent performances, though. So it's still super hard to dislodge Kulusevski. And Pedro Pedro has to settle at some point. He's one of the highest paid players at the club. He cost a bomb. He was also the big name signing. And I'm just a little bit worried that injury might have set him back a little bit. And now with the team talks done, we just need to go out there in this one and get the job done. We need to change the camera again to TV. And just hope that we can get the job done today. Because I do not want Norwich coming away with anything from this one. I definitely don't want penalties. I want it over as quickly as possible. Because we have that game against Burnley coming up after. Now, we are in the lead in this game. So I have to bear that in mind. But we're going to get the first highlight 20 minutes in. And we win it back. And I'm hoping that we just score the first goal. I find it very difficult that Norwich would be able to come back if we went 3-1 up. I think they really struggle to rescue this tie back. So please, if anything can come from this, that would be perfect. I've got the wingers now coming back on support. I feel like it gets them involved in the game a little bit more, and our wingers are extremely good. So I want them involved as much as possible. We've become a bit more of a possession side as the season's gone on. We're playing much more fluid football. Long may that continue as Kulusevski gives that away. Neuhaus needs to be good today as well, though. I need to be proven right by signing him for 19 million. I don't think 19 million in this day and age for a rotation player as Evanilson goes in and makes it 1-0 Tottenham. Back in the goals. All important. We're going to need him in this back stretch of the season. As I was saying, 19 million for a rotation player, I don't think is a ridiculous fee, but this is the kind of football we've been playing. Look at the link-up between the two Brazilians. Richarlison slides it in, and Evanilson slots it home. And at 3-1, I feel a little bit more comfortable again, although we got comfortable after the first half last time against Norwich, and it did come back to bite us. Second goal in the game could end up being pretty important. It really could. I think we're going to need a new backup goalkeeper next season as well, because Foster's not that guy, is he? Vicario's been great. He's going to be the starter again. That is a good ball to Maddison, who scores a screamer. That is it then. That is this game done and dusted. We go 2-0 up, 4-1 on aggregate, and we can rest a little bit easier now. I'm not going to make changes yet. We will keep these boys out for the rest of this half, but going into the second half, I feel pretty comfortable and confident that we can make some changes. Maddison has not been on the score sheet much this season. In fact, Maddison hasn't been very good for us. You'll see he's the captain today. I gave him the vice-captaincy after Eric Dyer left. I mean, he was the best guy for the role. Evanilson puts that over the bar, so he kind of just got it by default. But I do need him to start performing better. All things considered, though, what a brilliant first half of football if you're a Tottenham fan. Now, we're not going to let it go too long into this first half before we start making subs. I will probably let this one highlight roll because Destiny's picked up a knock, and then we'll start to make the substitution. Whether we can make anything work from this one highlight is yet to be seen. Oh my God, Maddison's feeling it today. But it is blazed over the bar. So let's make these substitutions. Let's keep legs fresh for the Burnley game. I probably should have signed another striker. I'm not going to lie. I ummed and ahed whether I were gonna. We're going to bring on Gonçalves up top. Actually, we're going to do that and Richarlison will play up top. But I did question heavily if I should sign a new striker. And I kind of just leaned against it in the end. Bring on Sarr here as well. And then our final sub as the game goes on will probably be Maddison off for Thuram to give him game time, but I don't feel like I can bring Maddison off right now because he's having such a fantastic performance. Now, there's been a whole lot of nothing happen in this second half as we're about to bring on Keprin Thuram, and I kind of like it. I like it this way. We need to see this game out comfortably. The changes haven't led to us having a little bit of a downfall as Richarlison misplaces that pass there. We can feel quietly confident right now that we're going to be all right. Pedro Gonçalves' touches this season have led to a lot of mistakes and nearly led to a goal there. I don't know what's going on with him. We've spent a lot of money on you, Pedro. A lot of money. And I am praying that it's just one of those things where it takes him his time to settle in England. He's going to have a bad first season. And second season, he's going to score 40 goals. Because we can't be having this. Son comes back and Gonçalves is just going to be nowhere to be seen on the team sheet. And he was the big name signing. Get Thuram on. And Edwards does play in Richarlison for what will be 3-0 on the night. 5-1 on aggregate, and Richarlison continues to be the top goal scorer in this competition. I don't think anyone's going to catch him. I think he will finish that regardless of if we win the final or not. If we play like this in the final, though, it might give us a little bit of hope against Liverpool. As the full-time whistle blows, we should be able to see, actually, when that final's going to be. And that's going to be at the end of this month. So we actually will have a short turnaround then before the next episode. We'll probably come back for the Carabao Cup final and then maybe play the Man United game. We'll split that episode up a little bit more so we get plenty of these games done. But at the end of this month, that is massive. We will have the opportunity to win our first trophy. But could you imagine the morale we could have if we lose to Man City just before the Cup final against Liverpool? That is going to be a rough ride. Right, so after that great win against Norwich, it only makes sense then for a similar starting 11, apart from mainstays of like Bentancur, Romero coming back in. Of course, Destiny picked up a knock, so Sessegnon starts. Then we go out and we beat Burnley. Comfortable. It's exactly what you would expect and exactly what you think. But in Football Manager, there is this slight thing, this slight problem that you have in the fact that when you're playing loads of games, for some strange reason, sometimes your players will perform like ass in the next game. So I am praying that's not the case. It should be an easy 3 point. We stay top of the Premier League. They've won one game in the last 5. So obviously they surely aren't going to be good enough. But we're at Turf Moor, so it's not easy. But it is newly promoted, Burnley. You don't expect them to be good as Vanderson tries to put a ball in. Oh my God, if Evanilson had scored that would have been absolutely insane. But you don't expect them to be good here, do you? I'm not expecting them to be good. I'm expecting us to be very good as Rodrigo de Paul puts that just beyond the post. And we are sustaining some early pressure. 4 or 5 goals here would probably be good enough for me. But if we're all honest with ourselves, I would take a 1-0 lead. Lingard's touch there is pretty decent. And we up against Vanderson into Weghorst, who is a nightmare and rattles the crossbar. Weghorst should not be allowed to have the ball crossed into him. Burnley, as expected, are actually performing pretty decently so far. We all knew it was going to happen. Honestly, when you play games in quick succession on Football Manager, it's as if your team don't know how to play more than one game in a week. And that is the consistent of all life in Football Manager. But that was close from Kulusevski. We're having a couple of chances early doors, but we haven't really tested the goalkeeper yet. Miric, the ex-Man City goalkeeper. I would prefer if we could find something on target. Now, our build-up play in general, since changing the tactic and just sorting it all out, has been fantastic. Can our build-up play here be as fantastic? I don't mind this. Keep the ball. Knock it around at the back a little bit. You have it, Sotalo, Romero, Maddison. Just knock it about. Find a hole. Find an opening. But I would like them to find the hole pretty soon. Into Kulusevski. It's a good ball. What's he going to do? I'll pull it back. There is De Paul, who scores screamers. De Paul is extremely good at football. He might end up being the signing of this season. Evanilson's been great as well. I have to remember how good Evanilson has been. But I didn't expect this out of De Paul. I actually thought I'd get flamed a little bit for that signing. 1 away from Atletico Madrid. Well, he might win the Premier League with us. What a finish. I would happily take the full-time whistle. That was our first shot on target. And what a shot that was. What a tackle that was as well by Evanilson. That's why he's perfect for this team. I don't think I'd have found many more strikers that just would have been really good at playing the pressing forward role. It's the pressing forward role we need. As De Paul puts that in, Evanilson should score. His finishing in this last 10 games has been a little bit iffy. But a corner goal here would make everything perfect. I mean, they keep letting Kulusevski have them, but he keeps putting them over the bar. And unfortunately, it does mean we only have a 1-goal lead going into half-time, which I don't like 1-goal leads. Don't think they're good enough. Evanilson, please just pick it up a little bit. We do have the ability to swap it around, put Richarlison up top, and bring on Pedro. Put him on the left. And that might work. But I need a second goal at Turf Moor. Don't give them any thoughts that they can get back into this game. And if this is a good ball in from De Paul, or a shot, shoot it. Oh, Kulusevski, back to De Paul. Maddison now, shoot it. Oh, God, they're blocking everything. Look how many bodies they've got back in the box. Absolutely insane. You're not going to get through them. They're going to be like a brick wall when they've got that many back. Oh, Maddison is loving a screamer at the minute, and that wasn't far off. Pedro comes on. Evanilson comes off. I can't be seen as a manager that isn't willing to make the big changes when needed. Mancini's going to come on too. He'll get his first appearance in the team. Maddison, he's playing okay, but not great. So let's go on Yves Bissouma. Yves Bissouma has been great at Mazzala. Is this just leaving a window of opportunity right now? At the fact that there hasn't been another goal. And there's been barely any highlights, to be fair. Van der Sen's going to come off. He's knackered for Pedro Porro. But are we leaving that door just a little bit too much open for them to come and score a very late goal? I sense something. And will this be said highlight? No, Mancini does win the header, but it's to nobody. Sessegnon win that. De Paul. It's a little bit crowded in there, and now it might open up. That is a good ball out to Gudmundsson. It's not. Sessegnon will win it. And now we need to start playing out. They're gonna leave a gap, but that's not the ball forward we needed. McNally, whoever that is. I don't know who half of this Burnley side are. We did a Burnley save like 2 years ago. And the side now, compared to the side then, is very different. DePaul loses it. Cullen plays it over to Lingard. No! Oh my God, it's over the bar. It's over the bar. It's a corner. What a save for Vicario. I feel like Burnley would have wanted a corner to score, though. And they're not going to get it because Vicario catches that perfectly. I don't want more highlights. I want the full-time whistle. Richarlison into Pedro G. That is a nice ball out to Kulusevski. Can't get to it. Taylor does. But we'll mop it up. Kulusevski. Bentancur. De Paul to Pedro G. And that is a good ball again to Kula. And that is a supreme finish. We're in added on time. But who cares? It's 2-0. That's this game done. Another 3 points. And Tottenham, no matter what the result, in Manchester, will stay top of the league. And would you believe this far into the season that Tottenham would be top of the league and in a cup final? There is the potential of a trophy and even a double in season number 1 here. Even a double. I mean, there is the potential of a treble because we're still in the FA Cup, but let's not get too carried away. All I need is Man City to lose in their game that they play, that they have in hand. The unfortunate thing is we play them just before the cup final. And if we beat them, I mean, that would be 3 points ahead of them in the league. But also, I'm not sure we have a squad yet that could beat Man City. We've had really good results against the bigger sides. I mean, we've made it 7 now without losing, which is great. And DePaul has just outperformed himself again. But I do have this slight feeling that Liverpool and Man City are just the 2 teams that it's going to be extremely difficult to beat. But that is going to be it for this episode. And I am going to be back very quickly because we only have 2 games in between it. And what we might actually do is just do the Liverpool episode as just a one-off cup special because it is a momentous moment that Tottenham might be able to win a trophy. So doing that as a separate episode might make the most sense. But as per usual, lads, if you're new to the channel, smash subscribe. Hit the like button on this one. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much for watching. Can Tottenham Hotspur win the league in season 1? Can we just win any bit of silverware? I think we'd all take it. We're going to have that opportunity in the next episode.